It's the 20th EY Entrepreneur of the Year, the awards show that takes a bird's eye view on the best of business success across the island. From coast to coast, representing every corner of the country, 24 pioneers of industry and endeavour have been chosen. Tonight, the first 4 nominees.
We're big for the underdog. We're big for the mammies that dare to do. Yeah. So that's kind of our thing.
So I'm fail once, get up on the bike. If you fail again, maybe we need to take the bike off you.
We're not trying to rob from the other brands right there. We're trying to help the industry evolve.
The best guarantee I give any of my customers is if there's an issue, it costs me money and I make sure there's no issues.
24 are chosen, but only one can win. In 5 weeks' time, we find out who will represent Ireland as the EY Entrepreneur of the Year 2017. Childhood friends Aoife Lawler and Niamh Sherwin-Barry are leading the business of their dreams, the Irish Fairy Door Company.
If there's a fairy behind a fairy door, are we meant to see them?
Yeah.
No, why not?
Because they'll lose some of their magic.
They would lose some of their magic.
We're big for the underdog.
Yeah.
We're big for that. We're big for the mammies that dare to do.
Yeah.
So that's kind of our thing, that we sat around the kitchen table and I suppose we just took that leap and we decided let's do it.
But we also believed in it. We believed in it. We genuinely and still believe in what we do and the power of what we do. It's something special. It's something that children will remember forever. And we're very, very, very proud of that.
Absolutely.
Under the stewardship of Aoife and Niamh, the Irish Fairy Door Company has provided keys to new homes for 500,000 fairies all around the world.
What happened was, the reason we have fairy doors is because a long time ago in Ireland, there was just fairies. And then when the humans moved in, they started to take up all of the space. So you put the Irish fairy door somewhere in your house, and that way a fairy can live with a human.
Inspired by chief magic maker Aoife and chief storyteller Niamh, respective husbands Gavin and Oisín were early converts. Complete with magical titles, the two couples are collectively growing the company while playing to their individual strengths.
I was playing this Gaelic for fathers team, which is you have to be like 35 and over, you have to be a father and you have to be in what I call like a has-been. You used to play, or you're a never wasser, which you never could play. And we were getting tugged out for this Gaelic match against another team, the big buff men, and my business card fell out of my pocket, and one of the guys picked it up and it said like Gavin Lawler, Fairy Allocations Manager, and the frickin' whole dressing room just erupted. They go, what the heck is this? And I'll tell you another day, guys. It's a business I'm starting with, but
they haven't let you live it down.
No, they never let me live it down.
My official title is Fairy Finance. I would be, I suppose, the person who would bridge the gap between the fairy world and reality. I have to ensure that the doors stay open and staff stay working here with regard to finance, because if it was up to the two ladies in front of us, every door would be given to everyone for free. So we'd actually pay them to take a door into their house.
We had this wonderful idea, this incredible concept, and we were all so excited about it, but we hadn't got a tenner between us, and that is not an exaggeration. So we had to think, right, well, where can we go? And my mum had given up smoking 9 years previously, and she'd saved all the money that she would have saved in a tin underneath the sink, and if she hadn't been smoking. So it was €8,500, and she just handed it over. It was going to happen.
$8,500 to us at the time may as well have been $1 million check.
Yeah.
It was massive.
It was our way of getting the doors made and getting the packaging printed, and getting our website proper, so between the three things we were like flying.
Before that initial cash injection, Niamh and Oisín were faced with emigration after their house had been repossessed. Like so many new businesses, it was family who backed the fairy doors first.
My waking thought for 6 years had been, is this the day they're going to lose their house? After that happened, I woke up every morning and my thought before I woke was, this is going to be a good day. Fairies, something's going to happen with the fairies today. And it did. They have given me hope every day for the last 4 years, and I love it. And my €8,500, you can go up and see my bathroom, it's still a retro bathroom. We're still waiting to make a lot of money before
Not there yet.
because it was my bathroom money. But I have never, ever had so much hope out of something in my life. It's been a wonderful, wonderful time for me. Pay your mortgage, feed your children, go on the odd holiday. It's not a lot to ask.
Yeah.
But the fairies made this possible, and they will make a lot more things possible. I love fairies.
Irish Fairy Doors have an online following 350,000 strong and sales to 150 countries worldwide. Key to Aoife's and Niamh's success has been belief in themselves, in their product, and especially in fairies.
You could be talking to a crowd of granddads and you explain what you do and nobody's left after speaking to you without smiling at you, which is lovely.
Yeah.
So that's quite proud. Like we've done no harm with what we've done. We've done good. Like so.
Yeah.
That's what
We've
we
done
wanted
good.
to do.
We've done good, definitely.
Jack Teeling's entrepreneurial spirit was distilled at Cooley, where he worked his way up to managing director of the distillery. In 2012, he struck out on his own and founded Teeling's, the first new whisky distillery in Dublin for 125 years.
Whiskey has been made for hundreds of years. The process is quite simple. You basically make a beer and then you heat it, extract the waters and impurities, produce a spirit and then put it into a barrel and let it to mature on the island of Ireland for 3 years and a day, and legally it's Irish whiskey. What is the challenging part of it is you're not actually selling whiskey, you're selling a brand of whiskey. So you're creating emotional connection to what you do.
And it's got that rum raisin nose there.
Lovely bit of sweetness.
Yeah.
That oaky notes that are coming through as well. So the balance in the nose is quite good.
Yeah, it's clean.
So at the heart of any distillery are the pot stills. And we got our pot stills handcrafted in Siena in Italy. They normally come from Scotland and they tend to be frugal and kind of quite masculine design, but the Italian design and style, they came quite feminine. And I saw them and I said, wow, they're like the three sisters. And immortalized my three daughters as the three stills we have. So if you come to our distillery, you'll see Alison, you'll see Natalie, and you see Rebecca working hard. So the three daughters are working hard in the industry straight away, but every time they come in, we take a picture beside them as they get older and older, that they are framed against the pot stills.
Growing up along with the three girls is the whisky itself. Last year, Teeling's was exported to more than 50 markets and sold more than 1 million bottles.
So what comes out of the distillery is the spirit. So it's the first step in the process, but it's transformed from a spirit into a whisky during the maturation process. So the barrel maturation is key to transforming, let's say, from a white spirit into a brown spirit, from poaching it into whiskey. And there is whiskies that we bottle and sell that have been in the cask for up to 33 years. Parts of a huge amount of character and flavour into it. But what we do differently is that we source weird and wonderful barrels from all around the world that we feel would add an extra layer of character and flavour that's unique to Teeling whiskey, the likes of rum barrels from Central and South America, the likes of wine barrels from China and other places around the world. It looks great.
It's a lovely colour.
It's a beautiful colour. It's coming from that Cabernet Sauvignon wine barrels that we got all the way from the Canaan winery. You build a distillery, and there's a lot of capital investment goes into that, but also there's a massive working capital commitment. So you have to lay down your stock for 3 years and a day, eats up all your cash flow, and then when you do that, then you have to try and go out there and sell it and market it. So there's lots of different challenges, and it's quite a different industry than most other industries. And unless you actually know the nuances, it can be quite attractive to come into it, but it has a lot of pitfalls along the way as well.
Jack's family are steeped in whisky. His father John revived the Cooley distillery, and as far back as the late 1700s, cousin Walter was bottling the stuff. Whether his daughters carry on the family tradition or not, each will inherit a cask of Jack's own labelled whisky on their 18th birthday.
This is the Teeling clan. We've got Catherine, we have Alison, we have Natalie, and we have just Rebecca. And hopefully in future years, they'll be in there doing their own roles and jobs in the distillery. I hope it runs in the family. I hope they do their own thing. I won't push them either which way, but hopefully we'll set the right environment for them and foster, their own entrepreneurial spirit. But whatever they do, as long as they're happy, I don't really care. We're not trying to rob from the other brands out there. We're trying to help the industry evolve, because if we don't evolve, we're going to lose as a country an opportunity that they'll go to American or Japanese or Indian whiskies, whatever it would be, and hopefully paving the way for future other independent producers to do in the right way to ensure that Ireland Inc. takes advantage of the global opportunity for Irish whiskey.
The Good Friday Agreement. Tony Blair is Prime Minister, Mary McAleese is President, TV3 is launched, and so is the first Entrepreneur of the Year Awards. This is 1998, and Irish business is on the crest of a wave.
The economy in Ireland in 1998 was very strong. We had reducing unemployment rates, GDP was improving, levels of exports had grown substantially.
1998 was the time of the Good Friday Agreement. And I believe there's a lot of optimism around that time because political stability meant that there would be opportunities for investment. People would be more confident about investing.
We've run the awards here in Ireland for 20 years, starting in 1998. We'd always recognised the importance of entrepreneurship, and we had three real objectives. The first was really to recognise and celebrate the achievement of this sector, of these great talented entrepreneurs who quite frankly were flying below the radar in many ways. The second was to create a network where they would actually talk to each other, learn from each other. The third objective was really to try and inspire the next generation to really follow in the footsteps of those we were celebrating and promoting.
Would you welcome, please, Dennis O'Brien? There he is, nice, smiling, happy man.
Well, I remember filling out the application form and I went overboard with information. I remember nearly putting in like a photocopy box of information. I was so intent on trying to win the competition. And I look back in embarrassment nearly at that, but I was so keen it wasn't true. It was part of the plan, you know, it was a way of promoting the business. And when I won, I celebrated with all my team and all the staff, we all went mad. Look, apart from your wedding night, the Entrepreneur of the Year, you know, final night in City West is going to be the best night of your life.
Since that first year, and the first winner, Dennis O'Brien, the awards have been a star-studded cast of the best business talent on the island. Through 20 years, they have showcased the strength and diversity of the business landscape.
So over the last 20 years, we've built an alumni network of previous finalists of over 450 entrepreneurs, and their achievements are really quite phenomenal. Collectively, their revenue amounts to over 18 billion euro, and they employ 183,000 people. And you compare that with any sector of Irish business, and it actually is right up there as the most important sector in our business community.
You know, anybody I meet who's working for a very big company, I always say to them, when are you getting out? And when are you setting up your own business? So when I look at EY and what they have done, I mean, they have fueled single-handedly entrepreneurship in Ireland. They've celebrated entrepreneurship. They've got people to think about becoming an entrepreneur. And I think where we are today with all these hundreds and hundreds of businesses that have been created, I think that's due to the celebration that EY bring every year to this competition.
Business thoroughbred Patrick McCann grew Simply Fruit from a leased orchard near the family home to the largest fruit processing company in Ireland, with a turnover of £10 million a year. When he's not overseeing the fortunes of the fruit business, Patrick's other grand passion is his thoroughbred racehorses.
I just love being around the horses. I often would sit at night for an hour and a half just on my own with the horses. Just actually been in that environment, just listening to the horses, even breathing. I find it hugely relaxing, really therapeutic. The biggest mistake I can make now is that if I fall in love with them and not want to sell them. This actually is one of my favourite horses. She was injured as a 2-year-old and she, despite our best efforts, she actually never made it to the racetrack. You do form relationships with them. Some of them can be grumpy and some of them can be a little bit awkward, but some of them can just be lovable.
Paving the way for the horses is Patrick's stellar success in the fruit business. Simply Fruit began with no land and no equipment. It now occupies a 55,000 square foot state-of-the-art factory in Armagh, employing more than 100.
quality, service and price are three parameters that are taken for granted nowadays. You've got to go beyond those three. If you don't have those three parameters, you don't even get talking to the major retailers. So it's what you can offer on top of that sets you apart. So the challenge for us would be to convince our customers that we are the champions of our category. There's nobody does it better. The best guarantee I give any of my customers is, because we are not a multinational, because we're not a PLC, at the end of the day, if something goes wrong in our business, it comes out of my pocket. When product leaves our factory onto a lorry, I don't want to see it again. I don't want to hear about it again. All I want is the money for it. So, and that's the best guarantee we give any customer. If there's an issue, it costs me money, and I make sure there's no issues.
Patrick was the first in Ireland to invest in a revolutionary method of packing prepared fruit in the early 2000s. Now, Simply Fruit produces 30 million units a year, ensuring the company continues to blossom in the Orchard County.
To have actually went out and basically developed a new business and to seen it now expand in the last couple of years to where it is at this stage, yeah, that gives me a lot of satisfaction, yeah. Also, I believe at this stage, we're only scratching the surface of the marketplace. We only have about 4 or 5% of the total UK marketplace. So there's a massive room for expansion.
One of Patrick's horses has been selected for the Premier National Hunt Sales in Tattersalls. The auction attracts the cream of the racing world, all keeping an eye out for the next big thing.
It's very exciting because there's a lot of uncertainty. We don't know what this horse is going to make when it goes through the sales ring. The sales ring is a great arbiter. Everybody has a value in their head, what they expect. Some people have described the sales ring as a theatre of dreams. I would say, yeah, there's been dreams realised in the theatre, but there's also been dreams shattered. Hopefully this one, the expectation would be that he will achieve a very good price for us. Literally probably 2 or 3 minutes before the horse is going to be sold, so yeah, a little bit apprehensive at this stage, yeah. It's the uncertainty and the unknown, so there's excitement also, yeah.
When the hammer went down, Patrick's 3-year-old earned €100,000 for its 3 minutes in the ring.
That's it all over. 100,000. It's a lot of money in anyone's language, especially today with the value of the euro, so that makes it a wee bit more important for us. So yeah, happy with that. There should be a profit somewhere between those two figures for me. But thank God everything's worked out with him, and I wish I'd won the sell every day.
Niall McGarry spotted a gap in the market for a news and sports website aimed specifically at 20-something men, and Joe.ie was born. One site grew into 5, this year generating revenues of more than €12 million between Ireland and the UK, leading the Financial Times to name Maximum Media among the fastest growing media companies in Europe.
So we monetize ourselves with massive partnerships with global brands. So every brand you can think of, from Heineken to Kellogg's to Lucozade to McDonald's, spend money quite regularly across our portfolio of sites. That's how we monetize. Because I think a lot of people have that question: how do you make money on digital? Is it when people click through? It's funny. It's hilarious in actual terms about how little people know about how money's made digital. It's made the exact same way it is made in TV and radio and newspapers.
Staying ahead of the loop is an endless challenge. For a social media influencer like Niall, keeping abreast of fashion in all things is all part of the business.
Day after the awards, getting married in Dromona Castle to my beautiful fiancée Sarah. So I'm here in Louis Copeland today to pick out what I'm going to wear on the big day. I dress very differently to how I dressed 5 or 10 years ago. I'm probably dressing down way more than I ever did. Back then I probably needed to feel like I needed to dress up to impress people. I don't feel like I need to do that as much.
This is the more traditional and that's the more contemporary, right? So again, this is why we have kind of all options available there.
Don't know if Niall is too much of a traditional man.
No?
No, I like that suit a lot. This would be lovely to go to the awards. I think the challenge is probably need a different colour jacket for the day of the wedding.
Yeah.
Just you need to feel like it's different. With suits, my biggest issue with suits at the moment is they're all a little bit baggy. I like skinny clothes, like skinny jeans, and that is the biggest issue because I used to be, like everybody was, the boot cut guy, like everybody was, and I really can't stand that. So when you put on a suit now, you're still like, you think, yeah, I look good, and then you see the baggy pants. So I'm in here now to specifically get something nicely fitted, nicely tailored.
Niall splits his time between home in Galway and work in London, where Joe Media is breaking new ground, with a social media following of more than 10 million. Today, though, he's at the Dublin Nerve Centre to cast an eye over a Facebook Live broadcast for the sports website Sports Joe.
One thing I would say is I ran a business through the recession. So I set up my first business at 24 in 2003, and it was like until 2007. And then, you know, Ireland just fell off a cliff. So I got out the other side just and intact, but like the mental scarring I have now used to my advantage, that I take nothing for granted. So now I'm in this great space where people are slapping me on the back. When I go home to Castlebar, I'm known as Joe. Like, people on the street just shouted at me, fair play to you, whatever. I have a family who are very grounded. They would chop the legs off me every time I come in anyway. My dad hasn't a clue what I do, not a clue. Doesn't even understand it. So it's very easy to be brought back down to earth. So therefore I just have the tendency of not to get too far above it. Like, I'm somewhere between, like, I don't like the Irish culture of begrudgery. I don't like the American culture of fail, and burn people's money, because a lot of people can't actually live with that burden. So I'm fail once, get up on the bike. If you fail again, maybe we need to take the bike off you.
Now, Roger's here as per usual on a Wednesday night.
A little celebrity stardust from ex-players like Ronan O'Gara and Jerry Flannery is all grist to the mill in a media business where the pace of upheaval has been breathtaking.
Right, but Jerry has said it, from a player's point of view, you really, as a competitor, it's the best rugby to be playing, and it only comes every 4 years. So every training goal is focused towards that.
The World Cup, not a bigger thing?
The World Cup, yeah, because it's your country.
So the challenge for any media organisation, and very much ourselves, is to continually reinvent and innovate and make stuff better. Now, that's something I thrive on, because as an entrepreneur, I'm always, what's next, what's next, what's next, what's next? That's why we've got 4 sites in Ireland, that's why we're in the UK. That's probably one huge skill set I bring to the business. And because I'm not involved operationally, I'm not involved in any of the day-to-day, I haven't been in years, it allows me to be strategic, and then I can think of what's next or work with the team. It can be frustrating, because if you look at the print industry, they had it their way for 150 years. Nothing changed bar the weight of paper and the quality of ink. Whereas digital, it's the right bus to be on, but it's changing continually. So that's something that excites me, it's something I thrive on. If it didn't change all the time, it would be too simplistic.
Next week, 5 more nominees for awards night. The High Flyer caring for cancer patients. A century-old powerhouse from Mayo. The future of IT in Belfast. A revolution in frozen food. And the power of poultry poo.